Wherever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you.
101 years ago, when Norbert Čapek, the minister at the Unitarian Church in Prague in Central Europe, created today's flower ritual, his church was brand new, founded just a few years earlier. Even his country, Czechoslovakia, was brand new, founded just a few years earlier. And that church was navigating nationalism and how to be a church and how to be a community in the midst of difference. And every year they would build a dazzling bouquet to remind themselves and the world that difference is beautiful, that difference is strength, that difference is a gift. They continued this ritual when the Nazis invaded. They continued this ritual when Čapek, their founding minister, was arrested and died in a death camp. They continued to remind themselves and the world that difference is beautiful, difference is strength, difference is a gift, through the rise and fall of communism, through the velvet divorce of Czechia and Slovakia, until the present moment. And meanwhile, their ritual spread to Unitarians and Universalists and Unitarian Universalists throughout the world. And how I wish that this celebration of difference today could be this quaint historic artifact that we brush off the shelf and reenact every year just for the curiosity of it all. But that is not the world we live in. Our anti-fascist holiday is needed now just as much as it was 101 years ago. So in a time when race determines infant mortality, air quality, education access, and so much more, we need to remind ourselves and the world that difference is beautiful. We commit and recommit to the beloved community and to accountably dismantle racism within ourselves and our institutions. In a time where anti-trans legislation is making wide swaths of our country unsafe for trans and non-binary folks, we need to remind ourselves, the world that difference is strength, that all of us, of all genders and all sexualities, are worthy of care and respect and equal protection under law. In a time when books are being challenged and banned, and some people want to rewrite history so it no longer includes true stories of hate and oppression, we need to remind ourselves and the world that difference is a gift. Telling the truth matters, and we need to encourage everyone in their free and responsible search for truth and meaning. So come, let us gather together. Let us be patient with microphones. Come, let us worship together.
This morning's words of welcome come from Thomas Rhodes. All of us are beautiful. We come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. Some of us grow in bunches. Some of us grow alone. Some of us are cupped inward, and some of us spread ourselves out wide. Some of us are old and dried and tougher than we appear. Some of us are still in bud. Some of us grow low to the ground, and some of us stretch toward the sun. Some of us feel like weeds sometimes. Some of us carry seeds sometimes. Some of us are prickly sometimes. Some of us smell. And all of us are beautiful. What a bouquet of people we are. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to People's Church. Whether this is your first time at People's Church, or you come every Sunday or anywhere in between, I welcome you. My name is John McClellan, and I'm from the Sunday Services Committee. People's Church is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association and part of a tradition of liberal religion. Here, our mission is to be a beloved community, embracing and serving our diverse world. Welcome, everyone.
And today, as we begin, several announcements. Today is an intergenerational service, which means all of us will be in the commons in this room for the service. The nursery and the preschool classroom are both open, however, so if our youngest ones need a place to be, that is accessible to them. If your children are older than that, grown-ups who brought them, please keep an eye on them. If we find them wandering in the hallway, they will be returned to you. A special welcome to our Zoomers today. I see you and I'm glad that you're here. This ritual is hard to do over Zoom, obviously, but we do have a team of delivery drivers who will bring flowers after the service to people who are with us on Zoom who are within Kalamazoo County, unless you don't want them, in which case please let us know in the chat. And we could probably use a couple more delivery drivers. So if you're someone who has a little bit of time on your way home this afternoon, talk to Melissa, our church administrator. Giving someone flowers is probably one of the best jobs we ask you to do around here, so keep that in mind. The Me and White Supremacy Book Circle starts today. We'll be gathering in room 9, the Buddha room, which is right back there at 12:30. That location is a change of plans. There will be lunch and childcare for our participants. An update on our congregational meeting. Everything on the ballot passed overwhelmingly. Thank you all. So our slate of nominees to the board and nominating committee were elected and the budget was approved. Your new board has already had their first meeting, and there's a couple important updates for you all. First, we have found our new piano, which is really exciting. So I'm not going to repeat the technical specifications, but talk to our musicians if that's something you want to know about. But I know the sound will be bigger and better. And the board approved the purchase, so we should have our new piano here within the next month or two. And there's a gap between the cost of the piano and what we have been able to fundraise so far. So that's a gap of about $9,000. So we're accepting donations, and you can look ahead to possibly some fundraisers or other events to pay for our piano. Another thing is we are moving into relationship with a local Scouts BSA troop, which used to be known as the Boy Scouts. And the Boy Scouts have not always shared our values, but that is shifting, and that is exciting. So this is a troop that welcomes people of all genders, all belief systems, all sexualities into leadership, into full participation. And the board approved the partnership, and as part of this, we're looking for a person to be a liaison between the church and the troop. So this role would involve participating in Scouts volunteer training, about 1 meeting a month, and then some email and some paperwork in between. So we joked at the board meeting, we don't actually collect who has prior involvement in Boy Scouts in our membership paperwork, but I trust somebody would, and knowing a little bit about how the Scouts work would be really helpful in this role. So I'm looking around, I'm looking on Zoom. Talk to me if you think that might be a good fit for you. Next Sunday is the beginning of our summer services, and these are services led mostly by church members, sharing reflections on the theme of living our values. They are inspiring and a good chance to connect with others in the congregation in a new way. So I often say that the summer services are lower in production values and higher in intimacy. Our attendance tends to go down in the summer, but it's really rich for the people who engage. We also continue to have a religious education program in the summer. A lot of it is outside. There's like fun crafts and activities and experiments to show up for. And for even more announcement fun this morning, let's hear about the White Elephant Sale, which happens next Saturday.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Sauter, and I've been a member of People's Church for about 3 years now. And I've been a member on the Elephant Sale Committee for about 1 week now. So I figured I was the person to talk. I don't know. Anyway, the thing that impresses me the most about this church is that there is a need. People from People's Church step up to the need, step up to the plate. Well, we're in the process of gathering all the cool stuff for the sale, and that's going really well. What we need some help with is gathering some people. And when I think about People's Church, I think about all the things People's Church does for me. And I'm sure some of you feel that way too, because I heard you when we were doing our drive earlier. Anyway, so now I'm asking, since People's Church has done things for you, can you possibly this weekend give back to People's Church? Our biggest need is to set up from about 7 to 8:30. Now I know this sounds early, but you know a lot of you are up that way anyway, at that time anyway. And here's the deal. There will be donuts. So if you get here early, there are donuts. And now I'm going to tell you something else that you may not know, and don't share with others. If you get here early and you're setting stuff out, you're going to find something on one of those tables that all of a sudden you're going to realize you cannot live without. Right, Rick?
Right.
I'm sure that's happened to you.
I have no idea what she's talking about.
No. And you're going to see that thing and you're going to go, I really don't need it, but you're going to find you want it, and you're going to find it's going to go home with you. And if you come back later at 2 o'clock, it's going to not be there because somebody else already took it. So, bonus of 7 o'clock setting up donuts, being with people, setting up. And not only does this money help People's Church, but it also goes out to other charities as well. So think of it that way, you're helping other charities. So there is a sign-up sheet in the back, or you can talk to Rick. I will be actually downstairs right after church helping to set some stuff up, or you can contact Melissa. But thank you in advance for helping with the sale.
Maybe you saw these coming in. You too can have one for your very own front lawn. All you need to do is sign it out in the foyer, and they really work. So if you're in a pretty busy area, this would be a big help too. Thanks.
Thank you for all those announcements. I'd like to invite you to rise in body or spirit to sing our opening song together. Earth was given as a garden, cradle for humanity, tree of life and tree of knowledge, place for our discovery. Here was home for all your creatures, born of land and sky and sea, all created in your image, all to live in harmony. Show to us again the garden where all life flows fresh and free. Gently guide your sons and daughters into full maturity. Teach us how to trust each other, how to use for good our power, how to touch the earth with reverence, then once more we'll eat and flower. Bless the earth and all your children, one creation make us whole, interwoven, all connected, planet-wide and inmost soul. Holy Mother, life bestowing, bid our waste and warfare cease. Fill us all with grace o'erflowing. Teach us how to live in peace.
I'd like to call Gigi up to light our chalice. If you're lighting a chalice and you're on Zoom, please feel free to type in the chat box, "A chalice is lit" in, and then wherever you are. An Eye for Miracles by Diego Valeri. You who have an eye for miracles, regard the bud now appearing on the bare branch of the fragile young tree. It's a mere dot, a nothing. But already it's a flower, already a fruit, already its own death and resurrection.
Why I bought a dandelion instead of a rose. Because they're free. They root where they choose and they live without apology or boundary, thrive in vacant lots and sidewalk cracks. They don't need your fussing or your tending because they're tough, tenacious, and resilient. They faced down some serious resistance in their days, and look, they're still here. They don't care what the neighbors say. They don't concern themselves with the fascist beauty standards that the world imposes on lawns, on people, on anything. They're here
for the raggedy edges and gleeful self-expression. They side with the bees and the slugs. They walk with the rabbits and the woodchucks and the butterflies and the earthworms. They are in solidarity with the wild things, shy things, outcasts, migrants. They've been outcast and migrant themselves, so they know. Dandelions give back more than they take. They're community-minded. They make others welcome. They believe in mutual aid. They break up compacted soil. They draw nutrients up from the depths to make themselves available to other plants. They remove toxins. They hold space against less beneficial invasive species. And then there's the fluff. Dandelions are pretty. They grant wishes for happy children and hopeful lovers. They fling fuzzy wing seeds out into the wind without counting the cost. Generous, uninhibited in their giving, in their love for the world, in their belief that every seed will find a home. All they ever ask is to be allowed to live. Let them live.
This is the moment when, if you haven't brought your flowers up to put in our common bouquet, to do that. And it's also the time that I would like to invite our children forward for a conversation. Excuse me. Can I squeeze in right here? I am so glad all of you came to church today. This is one of my favorite Sundays of the whole church year, our big flower festival. And I see that a lot of you are even wearing flowers. Isn't it fun to look out on this whole room and see a lot of people with flowers on their clothes today? Yeah, it's pretty fun. So I have two things here. And I'm wondering if you guys can notice any differences between these things. Regina, what do you notice? Yep, one is full of sticks, one is full of flowers. May, what do you notice? They're two different colors, but they're still beautiful. What do you notice?
I noticed that one jar doesn't have water and one.
Oh, one jar doesn't have water and one does. What do you notice, Avery? The flowers have more variety of colors, yeah, and shapes. The sticks just kind of look the same. Okay, I'll ask another question in a minute. We're gonna stop with that because you guys got to the thing. So we have a bouquet of sticks and we have a bouquet of flowers. So we're gonna do a show of hands. If you were picking out which one you would want maybe in your house, or you'd want to give to someone as a present, or which one would just make you feel happiest, who would pick the sticks? Couple? Okay, good. I'm glad we don't all agree.
I would like to have sticks in mine.
You have a few sticks?
But I want to give it to mine. I don't want to give
You wouldn't give it to somebody, so for your own use, but you wouldn't give it to somebody. What about flowers? Oh, any grown-up opinions on any of this? Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I think this one is much more interesting to look at. Because look at all these different shapes of flowers and different colors and sizes. You can see that some of these probably came from somebody's yard and some came from the store. We'll put this back here. And then we have these sticks, which, are not all from the same kind of plant, I don't think, but all look about the same color. They're close to the same length. And I'm going to tell... I'm being disrespectful to the sticks? Yeah. Maybe. But this is a part that's really more for the grown-ups than the kids. Grown-ups, do you know where the word fascism comes from? A few of you do. It comes from a bundle of sticks. Because the idea of fascism, which is one way to run a country, is that we are strongest when we are all the same, when we try to be as similar to everybody else as possible, and we ignore what we want so the country can have what it wants. So it's about being kind of all the same and trying to be as similar as possible. Does anybody have any thoughts about that?
Me.
Hazel, what do you think? The bottles are different. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, Ollie, do you have a thought? You do? Oh, yeah, those are some reversible sequins on your shirt. Reversible sequins are some of the, cool. May, do you have another thought? Yeah? When you're all together, it's harder to break. That is the idea of fascism. So if you all are about the same, you're stronger. But I don't think that's actually true. I think the flowers are pretty beautiful and amazing too. And I like what Teddy said about maybe wanting those sticks in his house, but not using that as a present for anybody else.
I would use it for a present.
You wouldn't use it as a present? Because I think this one is better. And so when we do the flower service at People's Church, we know that, maybe some people would prefer a bundle of sticks, and that's okay. But as a community, we try to live like a bouquet of flowers because we want each person here to be the most themselves they can be. So that means, like the choir sang, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whoever you love, we welcome you. And I know that's kind of a hard idea to get across with flowers, but I think that's probably why we have to do this every year, to remind ourselves that difference is one of the best things about being a human and being a human in community with others, that we are not all the same. And that is great. We're not all the same, are we?
No.
No. Do you have another thought?
I have another thought. The other people for how they look. Other people stand up like them are.
Oh, that's, yeah.
So like if they're like.
Oh, can I pause you there so I can tell all the grown-ups what you just said, because it was so good?
Yeah.
So it was, some people in the world don't like other people because of how they look or how they are, but we can stand up and like everybody. That was about what you said, right? And so I think that is the reminder for this day. Herschel, do you have a thought to close us on? Oh, I couldn't hear. Flowers are planted in water. Yep. And so you have some water here to keep them looking fresh and beautiful. Do you have another thought?
If everybody thought the same, sound the same, Just say that would be disturbing and miserable.
If everybody thought the same and looked the same and acted the same, this world would be disturbing and miserable. I think we're going to end there. I think that is, you kind of preached the sermon for us already. The rest will just be commentary. So, because this, we're gonna just have you go back to your seats for the rest of the service. Thank you so much.
Can I go outside and get my...
Not right now.
Each other. We ask and tell, we don't just turn away. We give attention to every bud and blossom. Let every face come grace the grand bouquet. Mine is the church where everybody's welcome.
Trying to divide us. They dance against their lives to make them true. Today we're freed from a judging and excluding. Just look around, enjoy the lovely view. Mine is the church where everybody's welcome.
Taraxacum by Julian Jamaica Soto. Even though they are edible, someone decided that dandelions are weeds, stragglers to destroy, to uproot. But dandelions never got the memo, never thought to care. Busy instead with dropping roots, flinging seeds, unfurling shoots, and persistent in digging that taproot to depths of 2 or 3 average adults end to end, the tiny yellow flower survives. You are no less resilient, reaching both down to the strength that holds you and up to the light, out with your beauty. And you know, having sunk your effort into the cool, damp earth, that while dandelions can be clipped and fought, uninvested in anyone's opinion, they throw their sparkling futures into the wind, tomorrow tucked into seeds, and grow all the way back, strong and bowing at the very same time.
It is truly overnight. Sometimes it seems the dandelions put on their crowns, and just like that, the world is suddenly brighter, more abundant, more possible. This, of course, if you, like me, adore the dandelion. See their unmarshal ranks suddenly outflanking the gloom, outflowering the doom, and if you, like me, love its absolutely usable body of utter benevolence, body of total beneficence. The dandelion giggles at the capitalistic and monotheistic, no God but me and such, and pop song monogamistic, no one will ever love you like I do and such, myth of scarcity. I do not destroy them because they are the most consistent, prolific, generous, trouble and labor-free crop. I mean, when the squash bugs get the squash, and the cabbage moths, the collards, and the blight, the tomatoes, the dandelions are steady Freddy. They are the Marcus Smarts of the garden, the Brian Grants, the Mo Cheekses, or Bobby Joneses, the Patrick Beverleys. That's basketball references for y'all. They always show up and give their all. We need to give them their flowers. They're also little beacons of the it'll be okay. Maybe their prettiness, by which I really mean beauty, is because their roots go so far down. They fathom the depths, and those beautiful flowers are missives from the deep of the dark, or the mystery, or the unknown, or the underworld, whichever word we want to use today to mean the dead, or at least the dead adjacent. Missives from the dead, these little festive blooms, to which I don't know about you, but I'm trying to listen.
I invite you to do a stretch upward, find some posture for singing. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well, may I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Dandelions have a lot to teach us. Dandelions, at least the most common kinds in our lawns, are not native to this continent. Like so many of us, they have ancestors that crossed an ocean to get here. Sometime in the 17th century, people from Northern Europe carried dandelions to the east coast of North America. In my imagining, they had potted plants with them on their ships, but I'm sure it was just seeds. Crossing the ocean was hard then, and people made room on their ships for dandelions because they wanted the friendly yellow flower, but more, the nutrition of its leaves and its roots, and the medicine that it provides with them in their new home. And then, as we know, the dandelions spread. Each white seed from the puffballs of a dandelion can travel for miles. Some report up to 60 miles in the right conditions before settling down and growing into a dandelion that then goes to seed and spreads even farther. But a strange thing is that even though dandelions are not native and are very good at spreading, dandelions are not generally considered an invasive species. They are not as aggressive or dominating enough to threaten other species most of the time. They find their niche in ecosystems, especially human-disrupted ecosystems, and support the well-being of others, just not the ones who want a pristine, only green-looking lawn. Dandelions grow in marginal places. They are excellent at rooting through and breaking up hard-packed dirt, transforming it into welcoming soil that the plants can root, that other plants can then root in. And this is why we see them so often on roadsides or sidewalk cracks or vacant lots. They have deep roots, which can stretch feet underground. They are so resilient. And this is the bane of anyone who wants to get rid of dandelions, but it is good for their plant neighbors. Dandelion roots can pull up minerals like copper and calcium and iron and manganese and magnesium and phosphorus and potassium and zinc up to the surface level of the ground, where they can be accessed and used by other plants whose roots are not so deep. They wouldn't be able to grow without that helpful dandelion neighbor. How might this be a lesson to us? How might we be like the dandelions, improving the conditions and helping others in the place we are, even if we are not native to it, creating a world where many can thrive? This is the first lesson of dandelions. Make the place you are a home for others, not just yourselves. Dandelions are an invitation to awe, to appreciation, to beauty, and to delight. We might have been trained not to see the beauty of the dandelion. Maybe big lawn got to you and told you that they are not supposed to be everywhere. But their bright yellow blooms are beacons in early spring, and their puffballs of seeds are glorious. I think it might be a universal truth that young children love dandelions, or is pretty close to a universal truth as exists. And dandelions, when we see them every spring, can be an invitation to reconnect with that part of ourselves that doesn't see beauty, or that doesn't see weeds, but sees beauty and sees wishes. Dandelions are that invitation to find beauty where it is, to pause and to notice, to delight in what is small and beautiful. And dandelions are generous. Every single part of the dandelion plant, the stem, the leaves, the flowers, the roots, is edible to humans and to so many other creatures. It is an absolutely usable body, as the poet tells us. They are one of the first flowers to bloom every spring, which makes them vitally important for our pollinators. They give of themselves in so many ways. When it comes to dandelions, there is no scarcity. It is always abundance. May we all be so generous. To the lessons of the dandelions, be welcoming and help others find a home. Be resilient, notice beauty, be generous. May we all go and do likewise. And now is a moment for you to practice being generous, because this is our offering. At the board meeting this week, the board decided to continue with the same executive team for a second year. So this means that for the second year in a row, your congregational president is Joe Hampel, Vice President Brian Lewis, and Secretary Laura Boltman. This is not a common thing here, this repeating another year in the role, or in congregational life more generally. And I think their willingness to do it all again speaks really well of them, obviously, but also all of you. It is a joy to lead a congregation that is generous and joyful and committed and caring. And that is who we are most of the time right now. And that is no small thing. So keep up the good work. The offering will now be received.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love, which none of us can accomplish alone.
And now it is about time to receive the blessing from these flowers and each other. So as I was thinking through the service this week, I realized we couldn't do this whole thing about dandelions and anti-fascism, and then have you all gather in very tidy rows to do this ritual, right? It didn't make any sense. So if you look around this space, you'll see that there's sort of different pockets of flowers throughout our commons. And it's going to be a little bit chaotic, but that's okay. Chaos and joy can sometimes be very close together. And so what I invite you to do in just a moment is to move to a table or a flower station that is close to you perhaps, or perhaps you have an eye on a flower all the way across the room, and that's fine too. And the first person who's there should take a flower for themselves, and then take another flower and give it to a person who is near them, and say a word of blessing. So a word like peace or hope or joy or have a great summer or something. And then that person will hold that flower and select another flower to give to the next person. Does this mostly make sense? And if you mess it up, who cares? Everybody will get a flower, right? That's what we're here for. So I invite you to move to a place with a flower and give and receive.